Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Iron Woman. We only have special guests, and today we hear Guido's story of his New York City Marathon, or just running. Introduce yourself. Welcome. Buenos dias.
Hi, welcome. I'm Guido. I'm originally from Argentina, and I met Susanne through friends. One of them is Carlos. I live here in New York, and I have been here for a long time, almost 20 years. I met you.
How did the running start? I know we know each other through Carlos, but sometimes people have a different story when it comes to running.
I guess I have to assume that the public or our public knows who Carlos is. Carlos is another Argentinian friend. He's Argentinian like me, a friend in common with Susanne. So I met him long time ago. I never knew that he was running. And pre-pandemics, like in 2018, 2019, we should run together. Then he's really consistent running, like once a week at least. He does that with friends. And he invited me to one of those running gatherings, I would say. And that's where we started. But before that, we always ran really small distances, like 1 or 2 miles. When I was in Argentina, by the time that I met Carlos, or that I started to run with Carlos, I was starting to get into running longer distances. I gradually started to do after 3, 4, 5, 6 miles. And basically that was my base. And then during the mix, some friends stopped running with me. One of them is Carlos, because he lives in Jersey City, and he used to travel to Manhattan to run with me and other friends. And somehow he's doing it. I continued to run alone, but I needed to find people to run. I went into a meetup, and I found a group that I like. They run every weekends in Central Park. And I started to run with them. And that's when I started to get more serious in applying for the 9+1 program for New York City Marathon. Ran 9 races that could go from 1 mile to 5Ks, which is 3.1 miles, to 10K, to 15K, 10 miles, and sometimes a little bit more. So, and half marathon. I did those 9+1, which is 9 races plus 1 in which you volunteer and you help. And I did that for the 2021 marathon. I was part of that, giving gels to the runners.
You were outside on the run course.
I was near home. I was in like 100 First Avenue on 100th Street, around that area. And I did that. And that was my class 1. Then I was eligible to apply for the 2022 marathon, and I did. But the most important thing was the training. Those 9+1 are somehow easy. So it is not longer distances. And then you have to really train for it. I did that in like early in the year, and then I get injured. So I got some tendinitis, so I had to stop, and then I came back. I didn't have a lot of time to train. I ended up training only 8 weeks, which is not advisable. But I was able to run. The longest training run that I had was 18 miles. And the marathon is 26 miles. So I knew that I would be tired somehow. But I did it. I ran it in November. It was a really hot day. And it was really an exciting episode of my life, I would say. It's really great to see all the people get together. I took the ferry to go to Staten Island, and everybody lives from there, like batches of runners. Then you get all the people cheering for you. in the different neighborhoods, Brooklyn and then Queens and then Manhattan and then uh, Bronx, Harlem, Manhattan, and Central Park again. Definitely was a long run, and I was tired sometimes after half marathon, but the people cheer for you and basically help you to make it happen. It's a little bit like life. Sometimes you are tired and you might not be able to accomplish to reach to that milestone. Like I want to get to the 20 mile or I want to get to the 22nd, but you made it, make it. And it was a great learning experience for running, and I would love to do another one soon.
It's usually when you cross the finish line, okay, this was it. And then 1 or 2 days later, let me sign up for the next one. Let's see what I can do. And that's when the box starts. But I'm wondering, you said you only had 8 weeks to train after an injury. What did you do when you were injured? You still were training, cross-training?
My plan was to train for 18 weeks. Yeah. And I was supposed to follow one app on my phone, one of those sports apps that track you running. And I started, and I was able to run 4 weeks and do whatever the app told me to do just to get in good shape. But then somehow I don't know, I did something wrong, or maybe I did it too fast. I got an injury. I had to stop, and I went to the doctor. Maybe 2-3 weeks after that I stopped, I went to the doctor, and basically he told me to forget about the marathon. But they need to run some studies and checks. But so far he said, slow down now, don't run, and see what happened. I didn't have time to go back to him and run the test because it's really time consuming, and sometimes it's like a maze to get good advice. What I did is for 3-4 weeks, but then I continued to walk, that I was able to do that, and I didn't feel that much pain walking. I started to walk and run, walk and jog for 3 minutes walk, then 1 minute jog, 3 minutes walk, 2 minutes, and so on. I was starting to run a little bit more while walking. Run and walk, run and walk. I was able to run for maybe half a mile and then eventually 1 mile. I didn't feel any pain. I keep doing that work individually, and somehow after 2 months, I was able to run 1, 2, 3 miles again. Decided to start back. That happened in the middle of September. Basically, I had only 8 weeks left. I did some research with friends, and I looked online, and I found a plan for a 8 weeks marathon preparation for a flat marathon in Philadelphia, US. I saw all the mileage and the exercises that you have to do with, and so far it met exactly the schedule that I have. And it was doable for me. When it's starting to things get too complicated and they do many exercise and many things that it's too much, I don't want to do it. But that was really simple. It was 8 weeks, and you have to do 2 runs per week plus a long run in the weekend. There was between 3 to 4 runs. That's exercises every 2 days. I did that, and somehow I never get injured again. I felt that I was able to finish without getting injured again. But I didn't know about the pace. But I ended up doing it in 5 hours and 20 minutes. It wasn't what I expected, but it was really good anyway.
Well, it's probably 1% of the population does a marathon, so you're part of this very small group, and you finished. I think finishing is more important. But I'm always curious to know, what did you learn, especially when you're injured and you get back to it? How can you transfer that into your everyday life? You said running is like life. So what happened in those few weeks?
There is a key word here that is patience. That you can apply that in life, work, personal life, be able to wait, relax, and then maybe later assess the situation better, do a better decision. That comes also with age. but
that's a good thing.
Basically, patience was important for me, because sometimes you feel that you are recovered and you started to run back, and then you get injured again, then you are worse than when you started. So I didn't want that to happen. That's why I went that much, and I went to the doctor, etc. But I learned that patience is key. Also, it is great to train alone and to train with people, both. Training with people or being in a running group helped me a lot. Not only running with Carlos and you and everybody from that group, but also with the other larger group that I have. There are people that they are more interested in longer distances. There are people that are interested in fast track or track and field, like 100, 200 meters. There are different interests, but that helped me to get going, to continue. Sometimes you could feel that I'm not going to make it because I'm really tired. That there are not that many weeks. People encourage you and tell you stories about other people that basically did it, like my stories. Then I get encouraged and I get better. I think running is something that can help you a lot in your life.
It's about that endurance, never giving up. And a marathon is a marathon. It's not an easy distance.
It's not easy. Some people say that it's different running, different races putting together. And at the end, it's like the one that it counts. They say that the last 6 or 8 miles are the most important ones because are the one that basically you feel tired and you want to quit and you want to stop. Same that in life. Sometimes you are tired of many things at work or in personal life, and it's easy to say, I want to quit this and I want to start something else. And sometimes you just go to bed and wake up the day after and you feel that we can keep going. And that's what I learned. It's patient and I think also a plan. You have to plan as well for the marathon. It's not that.
The plan, it's much harder. And what do you think when it's getting tough?
What do you mean tough?
What do you think when you're running? People always ask me, what do you think? I don't know. But I really had to think what I'm thinking. In a way, it's you get into that in a state of not thinking.
That's a good question. When I run alone, individually, part of the training, I always listen to the music, listen to my streaming on my phone. And that helped me get going because if not, I get bored. Sometimes I could run without music. Typically, I don't recall what I would be thinking about it. Sometimes I'm thinking about the pace and what I need to do. Some of the apps give you training. They tell you, we're going to do 10 miles. Now we're going to have 16. And they tell you, okay, this mile is okay. This is the easy one. But then the next miles, you will have to put something. They give you tips. Sometimes I do that, and then you focus on the race. Sometimes I just focus on the music, and if I don't listen to anything, I might be thinking about random things. It could be I could be thinking about work or life. It's not like I would say that some people say I go for a run, and I'm thinking nothing, and it gets me to another dimension. It's like my life by running.
What are the tips that you give to somebody who wants to start? Since you ran just the first marathon, I always feel like the first marathon is something special. It's something unknown. Anything can happen in a marathon. So what are the few tips that you have for people who want to start?
Forget about a marathon. Just whoever wants to run, they have to start with smaller distances.
I like that.
100 meters, 200, 500. Some people that they never run feel that they cannot do it. They feel that it's too high to climb that mountain. Somebody is starting to think about a marathon. It's really hard. If you think about starting little by little, step by step, 100 meters, 200, 500, 1 kilometer. Those are distances to start and see if you really like to run more, Some people doesn't like to run longer distances. Some people, they believe that they are completely unnecessary. After the half marathon, which it seems like is the threshold of the reasonable runs for me, after 13 miles, everything it seems a little bit too much. But that's my opinion, because you have to train a lot and it's a really, really hard toll on your body. Some people love to run that all the time. I think that I probably in my training, I did many halves, and it seems like it's doable. When you get to one marathon, it's a little bit more complicated. That maybe when I do my third one, I will be better. But I will say starting with shorter distances and see if what they want. And then if they want to run a marathon, you have to build it gradually, like 1, 2, 3 miles, and then 5. Then you get to 10. When you get to 10, I think it's like a big achievement. After 10 miles, you start to think about half a marathon. And if you do the half marathon, then you say, okay, I just need to do it twice, which is difficult.
Good advice. Start small and then add up and have a plan and be patient. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next marathon together.
Thank you. I hope we can see each other soon, this spring and summer in New York. And looking forward for the next marathon.
Me too. Always cool to talk to a marathon runner. Congratulations on the first marathon. Something really special. And New York City obviously is the most special one among many. Take it from the Ein Woman. We have episodes every Monday. Don't miss out. There's stories from great people, inspiring stories that you can learn and also follow. And Take It from the Ein Woman is also the book, Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Get it in the local bookstore or download it. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.